Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome back. And if you're just joining us, this is Breakfast Daily right here on Channel One. Right now, we're about to go into a conversation that's got everyone talking, a conversation that could probably be affecting the future of some of our wards or children. Well, it's all about the BECE examination, and of course, it's in limbo right now. We don't know what's going on, because WAEC is actually awaiting some of the money from the government to be paid to them, while government is saying, look, we've paid about 80 million Ghana cedis to you, and WAEC is still saying, look, the only thing we have is 48 million. You just have to pay us the rest, and then we can go ahead of this, with this examination. And if you're wondering what this is all about, you know, like the government actually, has this initiative of the free education. So that means some of that fees has to be coming from the government, especially for the government schools. They have to be paying those fees for the students. Anyway, we have some articles here, and we also have a report. So I'm just going to be checking some of the articles, and Kweku will also be reading some from the newspaper. And here we have on CNR.com, BECE, we've only received 47 million Ghana cedis from government, not 80 million, and that's by WAEC. I'm just going to read a few of the paragraphs, then we can continue. The West African Examination Council, that's WAEC, has stated that it has only received 47 million Ghana cedis from the government for the conduct of the Basic Education Certificate Examination, and that is the BECE. Frank Andodompre, the Majority Chief Whip, has previously informed Parliament that the Finance Ministry has released 80 million Ghana cedis to WAEC for the BECE. The disclosure followed concerns raised by Yusuf Sulemana, the Member of Parliament of Bolegamboy, regarding the government's outstanding debt to WAEC. Initially, WAEC had only received 2.3 million Ghana cedis of the 95.83 million Ghana cedis. This led the council to request at least 50% of the total amount of the to conduct the examination and additional fund to process the release results. The BECE is set to commence from July 8 to July 15, 2024 at all centers across the country. And I'm just going to stop there, and Kweku, you can also read what you have on
so the Ghanaian
papers.
Times has this story here. It's on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times. It says government has released 47.125 million Ghana cedis to the West African Examinations Council for the conduct of this year's Basic Education Certificate examination. Now, the amount represents, according to the council, 49% of the 95.83 million that's owed the examination management body by government. Now, it raises a number of questions. Why does government owe so much in the education sector? Why does government even owe in the education sector this much? The Examination Council. Now, the head of public relations, John Kapi, is the head of public relations at WAEC. John Kapi told Accra-based 3FM that contrary to the assertion by the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Andodompre, that 80 million had been released to the council, only 47 million Ghana cedis had hit the accounts of WAEC as at Friday, June 21st, 2023. All right, so here's the thing. We don't know if at the time he was speaking, we don't know what time of day it was, but at the time he was speaking, only 47 million had hit the account. The rest could have come in by close of day that day or by this morning, okay? But we don't know that. There are other questions to be asked though, but we do have a report for you. Let's take a look at this report. When we come back, we'll speak to some people about all that's going on and how we can potentially resolve these kinds of situations from happening.
With the Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE, set to commence from July 8 this year, the West African Examination Council, WAEC, has raised concerns that the exam may not take place as scheduled if the government does not release over 50% of its indebtedness of over 95 million Ghana cedi to the institution. While reacting to the Education Committee's report on the determination of the agency of the National Service Authority Bill, the Member of Parliament for Bole Bambo, Yusuf Sulemana, urged the government to consider its indebtedness to WAEC as a matter of urgency and release funds for the BECE to take place.
Today as we speak, WAEC is complaining that they do not even have money to conduct BECE exams. That is what we should pay attention to. We don't see that to the agents, and we don't see that as an issue that we should address immediately. What we are talking about is taking National Service Bill and the certificate of agency. When in natural part this country, BEC is to be written very soon, and WAEC is unable to raise money to do it, and nobody is talking about that. I think that the minister should be interested in raising money for WAEC to be able to conduct BEC exams for our children.
He raised issues about releases to WAEC for the conduct of exams. And the ranking member, the respected ranking member, gave me copies. So myself and the chief whip, we followed up and we spoke to the Minister of State, Honorable Abner Osai. She got back to the ministry, did all the checks, and confirmed that indeed they have made significant release. Significant. Well, please, listen to me. So we are told an amount of 80 million has been released. So please, my colleague can make all his points, but he should stay clear of that. The matter has been dealt with.
While reacting to the presentation of the business statement for the ensuing week by the majority leader, the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, requested that the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources be programmed to appear before the House to respond.
All right, so that's Ni Ayukwe Okai with that report from Parliament and the happenings in Parliament. Now, the issues here are quite simple, really. The government chose to absorb the responsibility for exam fees for BEC students, for all government schools.
Right.
Now, the private schools, on the other hand, all the students are paid up. All right, and it's about 214 Ghana cedis per student. I actually have an article here before, and we'll speak to some persons shortly. But before we get into that, let me just quote to you this article. And I'm not going to read the entire thing, but let me just quickly look at this one. So this is coming from Peace FM Online. Okay, Peace FM Online, and it says here, according to the Examination Council, a total of 447,817 candidates from the public schools are supposed to pay 214 Ghana cedis each. The government is supposed to pay the fees for the public school candidates since the introduction of the free basic education, which saw the government absorbing all fees for students in public schools. And so this is where the challenge is coming, and this is what we're talking about here. Now we have joining us on the line Divine Pe, who is Senior Programs Officer at Africa Education Watch. Divine, good morning once again. Yes. Now, I'm sure you've been following this story and what's going on here. How do we get to the point where, you know, this issue becomes an issue of the past? Because I'm sure it's not just a current debt that we're looking at. It's a recurrent debt that, you know, has been persisting.
You're right. It's not a current debt. In fact, some of the arrears dated back to 2022. And currently, government is owing WAEC around or even over 300 million Ghana cedis. And basically is because government is finding a challenge to make resources available to WAEC. You know, government, its pre-SHS policy, decided to absorb the registration fee for students or candidates, and then also as a result of the free compulsory universal basic education or FQ, has also absorbed the fees for BECE candidates. So government has unable to pay for some of this registration fee or unable to pay the full amount of some of this registration fee. For instance, if you look at 2022, there is an outstanding debt of over 9 million Ghana cedis. So it's an accumulation of debts or arrears or WAEC over the years. That's what is amounting to the over 300 million Ghana cedis that actually WAEC badly needs in order to be effective and efficient in their operations towards the upcoming BECE and also, for that matter, the WAEC as well. And we are here basically because government, when it comes to education financing, there's a challenge given the very fact that government has decided to shoulder a lot, more especially when it comes to the free SHS aspect. There's a lot on government that government would have to meet to keep the policy going. So it's affecting money availability to other subsectors of the education sector. So it's not only about the BECE area or the WASC area, it's also equally about, even if you don't extend it to capitation grant to basic or primary schools and senior high schools, and then also special grant that has to be paid to special education schools. So it's basically because government will have to do a lot when it comes to the dealing of the regional high school, and therefore a challenge has become the solution. There's a challenge in meeting the commitment that government would have to make to WAEC in order to make their operation more effective. So it's not until we are able to streamline how government uses free SH policy to be able to free resources to be able to channel resources to other subsectors, we can still continue on this tangent of government owning WAEC for a very long time. And we all know the impact on the BECE or the WASC. I've been hearing people saying that BECE may not come on, but I know you and I know we will not get to that point by almost the BECE will come off. But the effect will be that the government continues to owe invigilators and supervisors, there's this lack of morale on their part to do effective job. And once there's no effective job done, it tells you that some of these small practices that we'll be talking about over and over, then there's room for them to continue.
Now, Divine, this problem appears to be like a dog that's chasing its tail and trying to go around in circles, just chasing its tail. Because if you want an effective education system, you have to have a proper and effective examination system that sorts out those who have properly, meritoriously qualified to move ahead versus those who haven't. All right, and then in order to do that, you also need a good invigilation system to make sure that nobody is cheating, nobody is passing corners, nobody is doing what they shouldn't do to move forward. All right. Now, we've had stories of invigilators, and some of them have been fired because they were found out that they were complicit in assisting students and so on and so forth. Now, how on earth are we going to have the best invigilators if this continues to be a challenge?
I share in your worry, deeply. I share in it. As I mentioned earlier, if we are unable to pay them on time for them to do effective job, then they also continue to cut corners to be able to get some money out of the entire examination system. So we'll be getting to, we are already at a point where the examination system is monetized for private gains, being the supervisors or the invigilators. That's because, number one, what to even pay them for invigilation or supervision is inadequate or something meager. And then also you can hold them for about a year or even over. And if you call on them the next time, some of them may respond, some of them may not even respond. And what it means that those that even respond may not be able to put their very best foot forward in doing the work, and will continue to have the loopholes in the examination system. But even more worrying should be the fact that you'll be losing some of your experienced workers, part-time workers for that matter. You know, if for some number of years they have implemented or supervised or even been examiners, marking your script for some number of years, and you have been unable to settle them, they are likely to not render service to you in subsequent years. And that means that you are going to lose some of these experienced examiners. And now you're going to think of recruiting new ones who may come with no experience at all. And that will cost you much more, because if somebody comes with no experience or less experience, the challenges that you will have to go through, the errors that may occur would have even cost you much more in the long run. But notice we can't even blame WAEC for this. It's not a function of WAEC. It's a function of government inability to make resources available to them. So the direction should be going to government for their inability to settle WAEC. It's government that has decided to shoulder the cost of everything in the education system from at the pre-tertiary level. It's government that has decided to shoulder the cost for getting that. Even if we're talking about free education via the SHS level or basic education level, there can be some cost-sharing elements where parents can shoulder some of the costs. So maybe if there was a government decided that there could be cost-sharing for that matter, that could also reduce the cost burden on government. But we are at a point where government doesn't want to listen to any other proposition on what should be done when it comes to cost sharing, as well as the implementation of its flagship program, the free SHS policy is concerned.
All right. So before I let you go, I just want to ask, what could be the worst that could happen to these students if this continues, especially the students from the public schools? Well,
the exam, it will come off. The exam will come off. It will not be cancelled. It will not be postponed. It will still remain as scheduled. So the worst that will happen is the rumor in the system that is going to be cancelled or postponed will have some material effect on the preparation of the student. So it is very important that WAEC takes steps to dispel that rumor in the system, because if students or their parents continue to hear that it's going to be cancelled, it's going to be postponed, then the right frame of mindset that they need to be able to prepare and go in for the exam, they may not have it. So that could be the worst that to happen to them. So it's very important that WAEC uses their regional channel to carry out a message to students and parents, so that they are much well aware that the exam remains as scheduled.
All right, thank you.
All right, Divine, thank you so much for speaking with us. We really appreciate your time, as always. That's Divine, but he's a senior programs officer with Africa Education Watch. Yeah, and you know, it's difficult, but it shouldn't be.
Yes.
It shouldn't be. First of all, I think that, you know how we say you're bitten off more than you can chew, right? I think that's what government really has done, bitten off more than they can chew. And again, maybe also because of the politics of it. It's like we don't want to back down and readjust and say, let's do it in a way that is practicable, you know, as practical, so that we don't owe so much.
Yeah,
you know?
And I feel like there was an issue of no forecasting, because if you are setting up all these policies, someone should have, you know, tried to forecast. Yeah. This can happen. Yeah. This cannot happen. There's a possibility this might happen along the line. And I feel like in everything we do, especially when it comes to policies,
but I think sometimes,
like, we need to forecast.
But I think sometimes there is forecasting by the technical people, but the policy makers, that is the ones that have the idea, political people, because of the exigencies of the day, say, put that aside now. Let's make it happen.
Let's make
no
it
matter
happen.
What.
Yeah.
Do you see? So, for example, Foriata, despite all the backlash and everything else that he got, one of the things he said, and I remember clearly when he said it, that not everybody should be under free SHS. Some people who can pay should pay. Do you see that thing? And it was like, no, we don't agree. We're going to go. Let's do it. You know, and that's the reality of our situation. You know, And we've been joined by someone from the WAEC. He's Mr. John Kapi. He's the head of public affairs from WAEC. Mr. Kapi, good morning. Hello, Mr. Kapi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
All right, so BECE students, are we writing or are we not writing?
We are writing.
Okay. So let me just find out. We've been speaking with the Africa Education Watch. They've tried to give us a bit of an understanding as to some of the challenges that WAEC has been experiencing. From the horse's own mouth, how much more money do you need to get things going?
Right. So when you talk about how much money we need, that will be quite difficult to say.
Okay.
But then we believe that because in running the examination, we have processes that we go through.
Okay.
We have the pre-examination, we have the main examination, and the post-examination activities.
Yeah.
So what we've done for now is that we've managed to speak with our suppliers who have provided a few of the things to us on credit.
Okay.
And so we've been able to prepare ourselves. We are printing questions as I speak.
Okay.
You know, so going to conduct the exam. So this amount that we receive, the warrant that we have so far, if it becomes cash, we would be able to send officers out there to conduct the examinations.
Okay, so you're talking about the 47 million, right?
Yes.
You haven't received any more beyond the 47?
No. As at Friday, when we were closing, the document that came to us from the Ministry of Finance indicates that they have been granted us a warrant of 47,125,594.12 Ghana cedis.
Okay. So where do you think the majority chief whip got that information from, that 80 million had been disbursed from the Ministry of Finance?
Well, unfortunately, I don't know. I also heard it on radio, on TV, but I don't know where he got his figures from. But what I have right now is what I'm commenting on.
Yeah.
My director of finance has not come to me to say that he has anything different. In fact, he brought this document to me.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, we wish you all the best, and please keep us updated. We hope you do get the rest of the money ASAP, and that these exams, apart from these ones being conducted properly, your invigilators and those who really help you to assist on the ground are not compromised in any way. All right. So thank you very much. All right. So that was Mr. John Kapi. He is the PRO for WAEC, and as he said, as far as he's concerned, all documents that have come in so far show that
It's just the 47.
it's only the 47 that came in on Friday, nothing more beyond that point. You know, I was trying to play the devil's advocate.
That
and
maybe
say that
by this morning
time,
something else will
some
show
more
up.
has come. But as we speak with him, nothing extra has showed up yet. So I really wonder where the majority chief whip got his, filler from. That 80 million had been paid. By the way, the 80 million is not the full debt owed. It's actually 95.83 million that was owed. So
95.83.
Yeah, there's still more that's owed, right? So I think government needs to come again, and let's solve this problem once and for all. But good news.
So basically, it's 95,832,838 Ghana cedis.
Yeah, so that's the debt, right? So I think again, the good news is that whatever happens, the exam will go on.
Yeah.
So the students don't need to worry. Prepare for the exam. Don't say the exam is not coming, so you have stopped reading.
Tell the parents. The parents have been watching by this
have
time.
been doing. Then you go and then you'll be blaming the gods and other things for your lack of performance. Please prepare. You were right. You were right. Now, I think that it's funny because one of the things that we did as students was wait till last minute. You know,
And then you
we
start
reading.
preparing, yes.
And I'm thinking, you know, children, why are we like that? Honestly, because you have the whole term to prepare. The whole term. Then we will not. Then last minute. And we do it throughout. I think it's maybe, to be honest with you, I think maybe it's only at the master's level that people change their attitude. It's
True.
like, even after first degree, you should go and see what we do on campus, what people are doing.
I think people
Chill
just enjoy the thrill.
The thrill of the last minute pressure.
The thrill, the whole force that comes inside.
Yeah.
I think we get some dopamine from everything. Yeah.
All right.